When I say Star Wars, I imagine there's a particular moment that automatically springs to mind for most people. A moment so iconic that even people who may not have seen Star Wars themselves could recite back to me with near perfect accuracy. The moment I'm talking about is during the climactic sequence of The Empire Strikes Back. Our noble hero and budding Jedi Luke Skywalker has fought valiantly against the evil Darth Vader, but now finds himself at the brink of defeat. Vader taunts his foe, telling him,
"Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father."
Before breaking all hope inside Luke with not a swing of a lightsaber, but a bolt of truth. He leans in, asserts his power and says, "Luke, I am your father." Except he doesn't.
No, I am your father.
Now, this is easily one of the most famous lines in film history, and yet it's so commonly misquoted. When I first noticed, I couldn't really believe it either, but so many people can vividly hear James Earl Jones saying, in Only the Way He Can, "Luke, I am your father." So how have so many people been saying it's so wrong for so long? Well, it has to do with something called the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect is a phenomenon which occurs when a large collection of people with no social links to one another share a similar false memory. The term was first coined by paranormal consultant Fiona Broome, named after the South African revolutionary Nelson Mandela, after his death in 2013. This is because countless people distinctly remember Mandela's death decades earlier, during his 27-year internment in a South African prison, with some people going as far as to claiming they remember watching his funeral on TV. There are countless examples of the Mandela effect in popular culture. Remember Mirror Mirror on the Wall from Snow White? Well, it's actually Magic Mirror on the Wall. Remember in The Matrix when Morpheus says to Neo, "What have I told you that everything you know is a lie?" Well, it's not anywhere in the film. What about the Berenstain Bears? It's actually the Berenstain Bears. Or Looney Tunes, or Curious George's Tale. Hell, Star Wars is especially rich with the Mandela effect. Not only is Vader's "Luke, I am your father" one of the most famous examples of false memory, but what about C-3PO? I know you might not remember him because of the red arm, but how many people were actually aware of his silver leg in A New Hope? So yeah, this is weird. There are a few interesting explanations for this phenomena. Broome, who coined the theory, bases her explanation around the many worlds interpretation, stating that false memories are caused when differences arise from movement between parallel realities. However, there are a few more grounded explanations offered to us. One theory states that the Mandela effect is formed as a result of confabulation, the intentional production of false memories, forcing one to mistakenly recall events or experiences that have not occurred or distort existing memories. James Deese was one of the first psychologists to explore this idea in 1959, and his work, when continued by Henry Roedinger and Kathleen McDermott, created the Deese-Roedinger-McDermott paradigm. Basically, the Deese-Roedinger-McDermott paradigm tests a person's memory based on an oral presentation of words related to a specific theme. For example, words such as bed, tired, dream, snooze, wake, and nap, and then asks the subject to remember and recite the words back. Usually, the subject will recall hearing words related and similar to those said, but were never actually said themselves, for example, sleep. And when they're asked about their experiences after the test, almost half of all participants stated that they are sure they remember hearing the unpresented words. Another explanation comes from the idea of source monitoring errors, instances where people struggle to distinguish between real and fictional events. For example, recalling a conversation or event that actually occurred to you only in a dream. Psychologist Jim Cohen attempted to explain this using his Lost in the Mall experiment. Basically, Cohen set out a series of different childhood events which had occurred to him and detailed them to different members of his family. One, however, his brother getting lost in a shopping mall, never actually happened, but when Cohen recalled the event to his brother, not only did he believe that the event had occurred, he also added additional detail onto the event. Furthermore, when cognitive psychologist Elizabeth Loftus applied Cohen's technique to a larger sample size, she found that 25% of the participants had failed to recognise the event that they were being told was actually false. Loftus found that human memory is able to be led in a particular way. If you imply that something looks or is a certain way, then there's a natural tendency to believe them if you've never really paid close attention to the detail yourself, which she described as the impairment in memory for the past that arises after exposure to misleading information. So, Luke, I am your father. How do I explain that? I think the issue largely stems from recalling the line out of context, whereas in the film the line occurs only midway through a conversation between Luke and Vader about Obi-Wan never telling Luke the truth about his father, with Vader's iconic line being a response to Luke's assertion that Vader killed his father. However, imitators who sought to take this iconic line and parody likely didn't want to recite a monologue.
Luke, I'm your father.
And start an isolated sentence with no, making it feel a little fractured. So to add context, add Luke. Notwithstanding the iconic shot of Luke's reaction when Vader drops said truth bomb, and it's not entirely implausible that the reason we remember it wrong is because we're so used to hearing it that way. And the more our brain experiences something without paying any particular attention to it, the more likely we are to just accept it as fact. The line has always been, no, I am your father. Much like how Nelson Mandela didn't die in prison, or how Morpheus never says, what have I told you? It's just our brain beginning to remember specifics which it never paid close attention to before, while also being influenced by outside factors. So keep your eyes open and try and take in as much as you can about the media you experience and the world around you, because sometimes the devil lies right there in the detail. Hey everyone, thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure to leave a comment down below and tell me what you thought about what we discussed in the video today, and also any other questions you have, I'll be happy to answer them. If you're new here, please make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date for all the new videos we make, and if you would like to see a written version of this video, you can find one at my website, owenlikescomics.com, along with a host of other articles and blog posts that I felt like writing for you. There are some more videos on screen right now that you may enjoy if you enjoyed this one also, and you can follow me on Twitter at owenlikescomics. That's all from me guys, I'll be back soon, and until then, take care and keep reading.